Let's take you now live to the Information Ministry. There's a press briefing by the Employment Minister.
It's a pleasure for me to be here once again to interact with you and to apprise you of developments in my sector. As the ministry responsible for matters relating to employment and labor relations, our core duty is to coordinate all employment interventions across sectors of the economy and regulate the labor market for decent work outcomes. This is done by facilitating the creation of decent jobs, ensuring retirement income security, eliminating child labor, protecting vulnerable workers, and promoting harmonious industrial relations for sustainable development. The vision of the ministry is to ensure decent work standards for all workers in Ghana and Ghanaian workers abroad. The development in the sector could not have happened without the support of His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who has demonstrated keen interest in the affairs of workers and has participated in almost all our major activities, especially May Days in the past 4 years. To him, we say, Ayiko. We are also grateful to our social partners, especially organized labor and employers, for immense support and contribution to the promotion of harmonious labor relations and stability at the labor front. We also acknowledge our collaboration with development partners, notably the ILO, EU, GZ, IOM, COICA, and many others that by our activities will with. Madam Chair, in our pursuit of decent work outcome, we have noticed that we have not been able to achieve perhaps very successful decent work outcomes because of the immense of COVID and its consequences on the labor front. The global pandemic has exposed some challenges of the labor market. Evidence has shown that some workers and their families, as well as small and medium-scale enterprises, have been the worst affected by COVID-19. Thanks to the strategic measures implemented by His Excellency the President and his government to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 on workers, the general populace, as well as enterprises, the labor market has shown some resilience. Nonetheless, I wish to bring to your attention the impact of COVID-19 to Ghana's employed population of 11.2 million workers, according to GLSS 7/2019, in the first 3 months of the outbreak of coronavirus, i.e. March to June 2020. The reduction in economic activity caused a decline in jobs and resulted in pay cuts for some workers. This was due to losses in working hours across sectors of the economy, particularly in the manufacturing subsector and services. 2 months ago, Madam Chair, my ministry commissioned a pilot labor market survey to assess the impact of COVID-19 on job losses and pay cuts. The survey covered 878 enterprises across the country and involved a total of 44,040 employees. The survey covered micro, i.e. those who engages 1 to 4 persons, small, 5 to 29 employees, medium, 30 99 employees, and large, those who engage over 100 persons. Enterprises that were interviewed. These are the classifications used by the Ghana Statistical Service. The number of micro enterprises covered represented 11.4%, small 9.2%, medium 19.9%, and large 9.5%. In all, 98.5% of the firms covered in the survey are in the private sector, with the remaining 1.5% in the public sector. The results of the survey reveal that the pandemic has had significant impact on workers of some specific industries. There were so many revelations from the survey, but for today, our emphasis will be on pay cuts and extent and layoffs. But as I said, there were so many lessons. Industries, companies reacted issues of COVID in various ways. Some reacted by readjusting their working hours, using the wheel of running shifts instead of going by their own normal working hours. Others responded by asking a section of their workers to work from home. Others also decided to employ the tool of pay cuts. Others also responded by asking their casual workers, their training staff to stay at home, leaving only core staff. Others responded by doing actual downsizing of their core staff. And then others responded by a combination of almost all the three major activities, by running shift, by at the same time asking some of the staff to stay at home and enjoy half salaries or pay cuts, and then at the same time also by downsizing their staff strength. But as I indicated earlier on, for today's purpose, I will want to limit my discussions on the effect in relation to pay cuts and downsizing of staff strength. Madam Chair, according to results of the survey, 17,685 out of the 44,000, that is 40% of workers, suffered pay cuts. Pay cuts were highest among mid-scale enterprises, with 46% of workers affected, and lowest among small-scale enterprises, 38% being affected. Sectorally, over 50% of workers in construction and services suffered pay cuts to keep their jobs. Between 29 and 42% of workers in manufacturing, entertainment and events, sports, hotels, and restaurants, as well as mining, to suffer pay cuts. Pay cuts were lowest in the finance subsector, 5%, followed by shipping and maritime sector, which also had a pay cut of 8.9%. Among the establishments that adopted pay cut strategies to keep workers on payroll, 21% reduced wage by 10% or less, involving 3,870 workers out of the total workers of 40,000 that were interviewed. 37% reduced workers' wages between 10 and 30%. 29% of them reduced wages by 30 to 50%. These pay cuts affected 6,766 and 5,067 workers respectively. 1,982 workers from about 13% of the establishments reduced workers' earnings by more than 50%. On job losses, the impact of COVID-19 resulted in 11,657 job losses, representing 26.5% of workers that were interviewed. The incidence of job losses was highest among micro-sized enterprises, that's 36%, and lowest in large-scale establishments, 23%. In the economic sectors, the highest incidence of job losses of 65% percent recorded in the other services, i.e. recruitment agencies, media, laundry services, and other organizations within the services subsector, followed by construction, which also had recorded 40%, hotels and restaurants 45%, and private sector education 43%. The shipping maritime subsector, together with finance, agriculture, health, and social work, suffered the least incidence of losses of 1%. It is worth noting that there is no known record of job losses in the public sector as far as our records are concerned. And here I take this opportunity to express our profound gratitude to His Excellency the President for this laudable policy initiative for protecting public sector work. As indicated earlier, the rollout of interventions, gradual easing of restrictions by His Excellency the President, and the return of economic activity in the country has resulted in the restoration of some of these jobs. Out of the 11,657 jobs out of the 40,000 that were interviewed, some 2,849, representing 24% of jobs, so far been restored. So as the restrictions are eased, work jobs are also restored. Madam Chair, lessons are learned whenever you encounter an unusual event. The impact of COVID-19 on jobs has actually taught us as Ghanaians to be able to withstand any such occurrence. Should there be, even though we are not praying that it should happen, should there be any such future occurrence? So because of that, I am happy to inform you that government has taken steps to show that the nation is learning lessons from the pandemic. As you are already aware, government announced its intention of creating a national unemployment insurance scheme for former sector workers that are likely to lose their jobs as a result of such future occurrences. Fair to this announcement, a tripartite technical committee has been put in place to come out with modalities for implementation of the scheme. The scheme, when operational, will focus on providing direct income support to workers who lose their jobs or suffer pay cuts in the event of a social or economic crisis. The scheme will also offer opportunities for training, retraining, job search support, apprenticeship, and internship to enable those who lose their jobs to readjust. Ladies and gentlemen, during the stages of COVID-19, the ministry observed that low-wage earners and unskilled workers were the most vulnerable amongst the total working population. Further analysis also showed that workplace transmissions were becoming rampant. In order to curb the spread of the virus at workplaces, the ministry, in collaboration with the National Tripartite Committee, issued a 10-point communique on workplace safety. The purpose was to consolidate safety protocols of World Health Organization and Ghana Health Services, as well as enhance routine inspection by the inspectorate departments of the ministry. The ministry embarked on a nationwide random inspection of workplaces. And here I must say that I personally led a team to inspect selected workplaces to attain the level of compliance with COVID-19 protocol. Some of the institutions visited were in the manufacturing, service, retail, and recycling subsectors. This was to ensure strict compliance with COVID-19 protocols and guidelines outlined by government. I'm happy to report that 80% of the establishments inspected were complying with the guidelines prescribed by government, I wish to entreat all employers and workers to continue to adhere to the prescribed protocols to ensure safety at the workplace. Madam Chair, if there's one issue that is dear to the heart of every Ghanaian, it is the issue of employment. I remember in 2016, when the then candidate Nana Adankwa Akufo-Addo and his team mounted the podium, they had a manifesto, we had a manifesto, had a title, Change, an Agenda for Jobs. So everybody expected that with the coming into place of this government, certainly jobs will be provided. And I want to assure the people of Ghana that the data available to us indicates that yes, we have made some progress so far as job creation is concerned. And these are the figures to prove that. The Ghana Statistical Service in the latter part of 2015 conducted Ghana Living Standard Survey 6, which had as one of its focus the issues of unemployment. And they reported that unemployment rate then was 11.9%. In 2018, a similar survey was conducted, and they reported in that survey that unemployment had dropped from 11.9 to 8.4%. In 2019, the metadata by the ministry also indicated that the figure has dropped further to 7.1%. So there has been more than 4.5 percentage drop in unemployment rate within the 5 years, between the 4 years that we are reporting on. So indeed, if there's anything to go by, then it means that NPP has actually made progress so far as issue of unemployment is concerned. According to the GLSS 7, the rate of unemployment is higher amongst females, 9.2, than males, 7.5. In terms of regional breakdown, Greater Accra recorded the highest unemployment rate of 11.8%, followed by Ashanti 10.3. Volta region recorded the lowest unemployment rate of 5.8%, followed by the Denbron Ahafo region at 6%. The youth unemployment rate has also declined from 7.9% to 12.6%. Madam Chair, since January 2017, the ministry has continued in line with mandates to improve the capacities at the national and sub-national levels of the promotion of decent job opportunities. The ministry is collaborating with its development partners to improve the capacity of the Labour Department and its public employment centers, PECs. As a result, 8 PECs in strategic locations have been renovated and revamped to enable them to provide active labor market services, including job matching and career guidance to job seekers. These centers include Accra, Tema, Cape Coast, Takoradi, Tamale, and the Employment Information Branch of the Labour Department. Apart from the routine active labor market functions of the PECs, the main purpose of the renovation and capacity building interventions is to enable these centers and sections of the Labour Department collect and disseminate labor market information in a timely manner. These, among others, are some of the efforts being made towards the full operationalization of the Ghana Labor Market Information System. Madam Chair, a Ghanaian German center has been established in Accra, just behind the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations. This was set up by the ministry in collaboration with the German International Development Corporation, GIZ for short. The purpose of the center is to enhance the provision of decent employment opportunities for job seekers, particularly young persons who have the intention of migrating outside Ghana through unapproved routes. Since its inception in 2017 to date, 65,277 persons have accessed services of the center. Out of this number, 28,901 accessed labor market information, career guidance, coaching services. 4,243 received startup and business development services to enable them establish their own businesses. 2,527 were also posted to firms as interns. Total of 2,606 were placed in available job vacancies. 614 returning migrants also received psychosocial and reintegration support. Indeed, they have run as many as 4 job fairs, 3 in Accra and 1 in Kumasi, which was well received by patrons. On youth employment, in 2017, the Sustainability of Youth Employment Agency, YEA, became a concerned government. As a result, the government took some initiatives to transform the agency and strategically position it for growth and sustainability. This included investing in sustainable growth, promoting inclusive development and job creation, and positioning YEA as a facilitator of jobs. As a result, YEA launched 3 new flagship programs. These are YEA Job Center, the regional flagship programs, and the Artisan Directory. Between 2017 and 2020, 143,963 Ghanaians have been connected to various forms of employment through programs and models implemented by the agency. In the coming months, YEA looks forward to rolling out the following programs as part of efforts to facilitate job creation for the youth. This includes the Work Abroad program designed to facilitate placing Ghanaian youth into job vacancies existing in other countries. In the meantime, the agency has received employment requests from Japan, Australia, and the Cayman Islands. The agency will continue to set up structures at the regional and street levels to support employment of the youth. The agency is also planning to roll out other initiatives such as the Ekumfi Chalk Making Program, which is expected to employ over 100 youth with disability. The Artisan Directory is also expected to recruit over 5,000 beneficiaries. Madam Chair, I have in all my statements indicated that the ministry stands for ensuring that Ghanaian workers are accorded decent work opportunities. But in practice, we have noticed that some aspects of work are either not considered as formal work or not considered as perhaps part of work at all. But people gain their living and their means of livelihood from those works. And we thought that we could not be fair to Ghanaians when we extend this work to all other sectors and leave out this sector that I'm going to talk about. I am referring to domestic work. Government has passed the labor Domestic Workers Regulation 2020, LI 2408, to establish a governance framework for the regulation of domestic work and ensure full labor protection of domestic workers. The new regulation is a precursor to the lifting of the temporary ban on recruitment of domestic workers to all parts of the world. It also provides the basis for executing bilateral labor agreements with destination countries. So, perhaps if you had a domestic worker in your house and you had no agreement with such a person, this is a wake call to you, because the person can refer to the legislation and perhaps make a demand which will be supported by law. So gone are those days when we used to bring people to live with us and then we just give them a patronage just because they are family members or they are from low-income homes, and therefore it is rather we are doing good to them. Yes, we may be doing good to them, but then we need to also make sure that their welfare is also supported according to the dictates of the law. Madam, let me move on to issues of pension. The year 2020 marks the commencement of decumulation or the full payment of pension benefits under the three-tier pension scheme. Effective January 2020, the three-tier pension scheme began the payment of benefits to retirees as and when due. As we speak, every pensioner from January 2020 is to receive the following pension benefits. 1. Monthly pension from SNIT. 2. Past credit from SNIT. When we talk of past credit, we are referring to 4% of the accumulated value of contributions from the date of first appointment to 31st December 2009 and its accumulated interest. And then a third benefit the person may also get is a tier 2 lump sum benefit from the occupational pension scheme. You recall that during the era of President Kufuor, reforms were made within the pension sector, which culminated in enactment of Act 766. Act 766 decoupled different aspects of pension to different management regime. The traditional monthly pension payment was left with SNIT, so whenever you retire, SNIT will continue to pay you your monthly pensions. But the bulk sum with which people used to go home with, which hitherto was an option that the retiree may opt for under SNIT, is now ceded to an occupational pension scheme that any worker belongs to. So when you are going on pension, your occupational pension scheme will look at your contribution and then the interest that it has attracted over a period of time and give to you as a bulk sum. Besides that, for those who were in employment before December 2009, you are logged over the period with SNIT. A formula has been developed of which percent of your contributions and its accumulated interest will all be given to you in a check form by SNIT. That is called past credit. So for any pensioner, you're entitled to 3 different benefits: your monthly contribution, your past credit, and then your occupational pension benefit. Unfortunately, because much education has not been done on it, people go to SNIT, they get their past credit, and they think that that is all. When you get your past credit, you may have to move on to your occupational pension group and take your lump sum payment also from there. Under Tier 3, corporate trustees are also paying benefits to retirees as and when due. The pension industry has also been impacted by the outbreak of the novel coronavirus pandemic. Layoffs, pay cuts, and breaks in the operation of many businesses are expected to affect pension contributions for the year 2020 in all the 3 tiers of pension. The NPRA has already begun an assessment of the effect of the pandemic on the industry. The current enrollment from the informal sector is approximately 232,000, representing just about 3% coverage of the sector. It is important to note that the 3rd tier of the pension scheme was created to encourage contributions from workers of the informal sector. Since 2017, government has been implementing targeted sensitization and awareness creation of the 3-tier pension scheme for occupational groups. This has actually wiped out the interest of informal sector workers not covered by any pension scheme. In order to consolidate the gains, government is considering the development of a micro-pensions policy to guide efforts at improving informal sector coverage to unlock the huge potential. This has become very necessary because a little over 70% of Ghanaian workers operate within the informal sector. So if they are not covered by any social protection or any social insurance scheme like pensions, then what will happen is that we'll have a very high dependency ratio because most of these people at their old age will continue to rely on the few that are within the formal space and are on pensions for survival. We think that is not good enough. That is why we want to keep in the base of pensions by encouraging as many as possible members within the informal economy to be on pension. It is for the good of us all. Madam Chair, it is refreshing to note that the achievements that I have outlined and what we continue to do have been possible largely because of the cooperation and collaboration with our social partners. This has created a harmonious relation that supports job creation initiatives and effective management of the labor market. It is my hope that such collaboration and cooperation will continue for the advancement of what's right. And I want to say that when I was first appointed as a Minister for Employment, I had many people coming to me to say that, hey, Bafo, brace yourself for the tax ahead. It's not going to be easy because that's the hottest seat ever. But thank God, so far, well over 3.5 years, we have enjoyed peaceful industrial atmosphere. And for me, it is something that I cannot attribute to any one single person, but it's been our joint efforts. So to our development partners, especially organized labor and employers, I would want to say that we are grateful and we should celebrate together. In conclusion, Madam Chair, I would like to draw the curtain on today's Meet the Press encounter and assure you that I will avail myself whenever there are new developments within the sector. Thank you and God bless you.
Honorable Minister, you can take a seat now, please. Thank you. Just as was outlined earlier, we would have our question time to throw more light on the areas